Welcome to Boys, episode 131. Back again. Another week. Same old me. I'm not changing.
Well,
what's happening to me?
I think you are changing. You're in a sick state again.
Again. What is going on with my immune system?
Is it in your head?
Do you think that perhaps I'm a hypochondriac?
Possibly.
I don't know.
Or maybe you maybe God dealt you a really shitty immune system.
Maybe in between. I think I'm snugly in between the two of those.
Possibly.
Was feeling a little under the weather. Still am. A little better today. I think it's just the season, man. When it goes from snow on the ground to short sleeve t-shirt weather in 2 days, repeat.
That'll do a number on any man's immune system, let alone your highly weakened immune system.
I guess so. Should have made better life choices as a young man, I guess.
Possibly so.
Put me in that boat. However, we did have a great time last night. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But first, advertisements. My favorite part of the show. BoysPodcast.com. It's a hub of all things boys. There you will find links to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Boys is available on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend. Go back to the boyspodcast.com homepage. There's a donate button. Click on that. Send $1, send $10, send $100, or send no dollars, and you're an asshole.
Whatever tickles your fancy. Just listen. Email us, boys@boyspodcast.com. Send us some feedback. Your favorite part of the show, your least favorite part of the show. Put your physical address in the bottom of the email. We'll send you some free stickers as our way of saying thanks.
Thank you to our sponsors, Anthem Brewing.
AnthemBrewing.com.
Great beers. And new sponsor to the cast, Ridge Wallet. RidgeWallet.com.
/boys. You enter boys at checkout, you get free shipping.
10% off.
10% off and free shipping. Holy crap. The deals, they're just stacking up.
They just keep coming. Christmas time, you have a dad in your life. You got a brother in your life. Hell, you got a daughter in your life. Or a person, I'm not going to gender specify, who likes wallets. These are a nice thin aluminum.
Or titanium.
They're lightweight. They're RFID. Blocking. They're fantastic.
Not to mention they're lifetime guaranteed. They sent us a couple wallets to try out. Brand new sponsor. So do your boys a favor. Go to ridgewallet.com /boys. Just have a browse. Look for a fucking awesome wallet for a dad, for you, for your friend, for your boyfriend, your lover. Check them out. Also, Fat Bison. FatBison.com. I had a bubble in my throat. If you go to fatbison.com, you can buy some wood. What you do, you go to Fat Bison after you get your Ridge wallet. You pull that card out of your Ridge wallet. You pay for your Fat Bison sign. You got gifts for everyone. It is the season of giving. We're knocking on Xmas door.
We are.
I'm so excited.
Another place you can go to get a good Xmas gift is Champion Vintage OKC at Instagram. Lots of vintage wares. Belt buckles, hats, dresses, t-shirts, jackets, jacket weather. Get something for your vintage-loving friend or family member today.
Lastly, thank you for the likes, comments, listens, donations, sponsorship, page visits like ridgewallet.com /boys. All those good things wrapped into one. Keeps us going, keeps the light in our candle. Thank you. Now here's the show. So we had a great time last night.
I would say I had an excellent time.
It was good. We went to the Blue Note and we sat down with Josh Caterer, singer, guitarist of the Smoking Popes.
Correct.
And you hooked this up through our friend Jonathan Jojo Knight, past guest of the show. And we go out on a little excursion. We went and had a little dinner first. We had a little boys' dinner.
Yeah, well,
din-din.
We were just looking for a nice, just, what was the word you used? I don't want a full meal, I just want a
quick bite.
A quick bite. And what better quick bite than a couple of buns?
Yeah, we went to Urbon. Yeah. Baby's first time at Urbon.
Yeah.
Got 2 of those pork belly jokers and a Topo Chico. It was the perfect amount of food right down the street from the Blue Note. Just popped in
and waited about 40 minutes.
Waited a little while. They were busy. I get it.
Well, there was a group of those fucking kids.
Those damn kids.
Here's the thing.
again.
Seeing those kids in front of us in the line, I've been feeling my age a lot lately. And that was the icing on the cake, especially for yesterday. I went to the mall first. I've been looking for a leather jacket. Another reason why I'm definitely feeling my age. I needed a nice leather jacket. Midlife crisis.
Nah.
I want a leather motorcycle jacket.
Are we talking a motorcycle, a bomber?
Motorcycle
What are we
jacket.
talking? Okay.
I'm talking like your old school, with all the buckles and shit on it.
Like a Ramones jacket?
Like a biker jacket. I want one. I
Go
don't know
to
why.
Wilson's Leather, bro.
I know, but I'm trying to save
Outlet
a little.
Mall, right here.
Trying to save a little money.
Again, Outlet Mall.
Is there a Wilson's Leather?
Yes.
In
There used to be, anyways.
You know what? After this, I'm gonna go check it out. So I'm going to these various stores, and each store, it looks like the mall of the '90s. Every store has '90s fashion. They're
back, baby.
They're phasing out all the mumble rap clothes, the neon and shit. Now it's back to just '90s alternative get up. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I realized, because it was fucking 20 years ago. And these kids they weren't around then. They just think the fashion's cool.
I feel you. I know we talk about that a lot on the show, but Kate and I went to see Mac DeMarco last week at the ACM. He stopped by, did an acoustic show, had his acoustic in tow. He had an electric guitar. He had a little drum machine, a little keyboard. It was really cute, very intimate. Perfect, really perfect. I've never seen Mac DeMarco before. I've been a fan for a while.
So it's your first time?
First time to see him. And I'm more of a full band guy. I'm more of a electrified rock and roll. It just feels electric. It's wonderful.
Right.
But couldn't pass up an opportunity to see Mac DeMarco.
Yeah, in an intimate setting.
Yeah, and he comes out and he talks quite a bit between songs. He's funny. He's very engaging with the crowd. And he was as Mac DeMarco as I hoped he would be. Like, he was adorable. I wanted to go pinch his cheeks.
As a person who I don't know a whole lot about Mac DeMarco, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, he's cute. Yeah. He's a cute guy and very very humble, very sweet. But I'll tell you what, to add to your point, I felt old, man. Like, I didn't feel like grandpa standing in the back, like waiting for his grandkids old, but I was definitely one of the older people there.
Did it feel like, because this is how I'm starting to feel, it's not the grandpa, you're not too old, but it's kind of like the sun is set for you. You're done. Like,
it's going down.
Yeah, it's like
it's dusk.
You can come to this thing, but it's starting to get a little weird. Like, if in 10 years, you can't do that shit anymore.
Well, I feel lucky because, I don't think I look as old as I am.
Right.
I mean, the cracks are starting to show. I get out of the shower, I'm doing my hair, doing myself. I'm getting ready. I'm drying off. Yeah. I'm combing my hair, whatever, maybe moisturizing, and I'm starting to see it now. I'm not staring down the Grim Reaper in the mirror yet, but I'm seeing it. I'm like, oh man, yeah.
No, but you're definitely. It's not like you're not on the side roads of being a kid and being young. You're getting on the highway to being old. I recently found myself in a different lane on the highway because I found some things recently.
What do you mean?
Well, I was taking a piss, like you do, penis out.
Oh, good.
Normally how you pee.
Yeah.
And I looked down. Because when you pee, you kind of like look all around, whatever, and I look down.
You look into the next stall, you maybe give a wink, some eye contact.
Maybe look down, and the next person's...
Tap your foot a couple times.
And I look down, and I see something in my pubis area, and I'm like, what? What is that? Thinking maybe there's lint or something from my boxers.
Sure.
There was a white hair in my pubes. And so I pull it, like you freak out. And then as soon as I pulled it, I noticed like 4 more.
Did they like sprout like in a cartoon?
Yeah,
like,
no! That's what it felt like. And I was like, God damn it. Like, that's it. There's no going back.
Dude, luckily I'm rocking the browns down there still.
Yeah.
I don't really have much gray hair. I have some gray in my eyebrows now.
Oh, my beard is gray. My hair is gray.
Oh, yeah, dude. You're a salt and pepper man.
Yeah.
So it's only time before it makes
downstairs.
the journey down south.
Well, I told Diana about it. She's like, well, I'm the only one seeing it. She's like, I don't mind. I'm like, right, but I mind. It's my body. I mind, damn it. I'm not going to fucking I'm not going to midlife crisis, just for men, my pubes.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to look.
Make sure you don't got any whites down there.
All brown. Still,
all brown?
I'm good. All brown.
But
Thank God.
It definitely... It puts you...
Was it a moment? Did you have a moment?
I had a moment of this is, okay, it's all right. a moment of it's like everything. There's the 5 steps or whatever, the moments of grief. I had it. I'm like, acceptance. I'm at acceptance. All right. No man can turn back the clock. We're all 1 foot in the grave day you're born.
Our days are numbered.
But there's got to be a way to slow it down a little. It feels like the older you get, like time just keeps fucking rolling faster and faster and faster. I'm like, November's already almost done.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Dude, it's almost 2019.
Jesus.
That sounds like the future. If you would have told my young self, hey man, here's what you're going to be doing in 2019.
Your 20-year class reunion is next year. What
I
the
know.
fuck?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go to something like that. Like, part of me would want to.
Is it because of what we were just talking about, like feeling older? And
yeah. Or
would it be depressing? Or
it would be, I think it would be cool in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we've talked about this before. Like, I didn't hate high school.
Yeah.
I was kind of like right where I needed to be. Like, I wasn't the coolest kid, but like I wasn't like the nerd or anything. I was just kind of the same way I am now, just me,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get picked on a lot. I wasn't super popular, but I was just right in the middle.
Right.
So I think if we'd go back, if I go to this reunion, I'd be right where I left off, just right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be the most successful. I wouldn't be the best looking, the most fit, whatever, the most sane.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like the methed out dude or the like.
No, you're not the dude who's
haggard chick.
Or I couldn't show to any of my reunions because I've been in jail for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Those kind of dudes. I've never been to a class reunion ever. And they when I was in high school, you hear about class reunions through like your parents or like what you see in movies. It's like a 10-year reunion, 20-year reunion, 30-year, and on and on.
Sure.
By the decade. Well, apparently now they've been going like 10, 5, or 5, 10, 15, or 10. Yeah, like
too much.
Too many.
Too
just
much.
Every 10 years. I don't want to go because, I was middle of the road. I was a fucking C student. I didn't get picked on. I had a nice group of friends. No one bugged me. I didn't bug them. But yeah, you go back for what reason? To go, oh, hey, fucking Kenny Skaggs. Good to see you, man. Oh, you're still selling weed.
I'm deathly afraid. Right. I'm deathly afraid of oh man, this was awesome. Dude, we should do this again. We should go hang out. We should go get a beer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, dude, I don't get beers with my best friends. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I like to be home.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man, you want to go smoke a cigarette behind the locker room?
For old time's sake.
No, man,
no,
I'm good.
I'm good. I just want to get back home to my miniatures. I need to paint my miniatures.
You've been painting minis a lot lately.
Dude, is it a tell? Would you say it's a sign of depression? Because I see it. I see it as very therapeutic.
I could see that. You're alone. You have a girlfriend. You're in a serious relationship, but she lives away and you live here, so you have your time alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you want to occupy your time alone. Some could look at that as depressing, but if you're doing that all the time and doing nothing else,
yeah,
like just ordering pizzas in and just fucking doing miniatures all fucking day.
And not working or producing a wonderful podcast or many of the other things.
It's a hobby. But I went with you today to
Game
HQ
on the South Side. Great place.
I wanted to go because
you just love to see me in my element.
There's nothing in there for me.
No.
At all. But I like walking around and like people watching and then seeing you look for all your little miniature stuff like paints and brushes and like little carving knives and shit. And you're like a kid at Christmas. You're just going through that display.
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
like,
had a handful of goodies.
Yeah. But then you see all the people around you doing, and they're in their little element. Like, man, a bunch of fucking nerds. But you know what? This is their place. It's like their safe. It's their safe place.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a haven for, I don't even want to use the word nerd because that's kind of mean. For people of that ilk.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of places to Hobbyists. And that they have that other side room where they have like people play their tabletop games.
Yeah, like half of the store is for Magic and the card game and D&D.
It was like noon and it was bumping in there.
Oh, yeah. They're doing all right.
You would have thought Ariana Grande was doing a signing or something.
Right.
But bumping. And they were all happier than pigs and shit.
And a place like Game HQ is the only place you can overhear things like Legion of the Imperial Sanctum. I heard that in there. I have no idea what they're talking about, but I was like, that's a lot of $10 words there.
Yeah. So if you're in like a metal band and you can't think of a name, we talk about that on this episode, like how to name your band or whatever. go to Game HQ Southside and just sit in there for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, crack open a Warhammer 40K, codex manual, whatever. Find you a word in there.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's your band name.
Yeah, I don't see it, the painting thing. I don't see that as being depressing at all. I kind of see it as like healthy, not in the go to the gym sort of healthy, but like mental health.
Oh, sure.
Because I spend a lot of time in my life staring at screens. Whether it's a phone, laptop, computer, television.
That's not good for you either.
No, it's not. But that's the world I live in.
Mm-hmm. That's how you pay your bills.
Yeah, that's how I pay my bills, and a lot of time that's how I relax.
Right.
Like it's basketball season, man. Mm-hmm. We're trucking along here. I watch a lot of Thunder games. It's something I love to do. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I'm like, shit, I'm tired of looking at a screen.
Right.
So at least when I do these like mini painting things, it's like I can focus on it. It's very therapeutic. It's, you don't have, there's
detail oriented, using your hands.
No rush, no rush at all. You just go as slow as you want or as quick as you want. Mm-hmm. I find it to be beautiful and therapeutic. But if that's all I was doing and like, I can't podcast this week, dude. Yeah. I quit my job.
I'm going to paint my miniature. Are you selling them? No.
No,
I'm actually losing a lot of money.
Yeah, these are actually very expensive.
That's the thing too. Like when you check that, I'm like, God damn it, what? But that's the thing you like. The other day after work, we went to another game place and you bought I guess it was an expansion pack or something.
A starter kit. The Warhammer 40K Kill Team starter set.
And it was,
a lot of money.
It's money that I wouldn't spend on anything like, but I'm not into that.
But I'm also into flipping like you are.
Right.
So I flip some shit.
Yeah.
And then I rat hole that money.
Yeah.
I just
for you
tuck it away.
Like that's what I do with when I sell gear. I will take what I netted, and then I'll put it in my flip fund. And if nothing pops up to flip later and they're down the road, I'll just start pulling money out of that flip fund for me shit. Just some shit that I want. But I don't hold on to it. It usually ends up getting flipped. Is there a market for used tabletop stuff, or do people usually want it new? I mean, miniatures, they want to paint it themselves. There's a whole
most of the time. There are people that do that for a living. Mm-hmm. They commission to paint.
Right.
Now, I'm far from that. I'm getting better. One little mini at a time, just getting better. But there are people who, sell their services to paint, because some people just aren't good at painting, but they still want to like have the collection and play the games and stuff.
So they'll like ship you their pieces and you paint them for them?
Yeah.
It's a good racket to get in.
Yeah. There are also, people who sell painted miniatures and stuff, but there's really, I mean, the amount of time that you spend on those, there's really not a big ROI, return on investment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's totally for me. Like I have a stack of stuff to get through, and it's kind of like the shame stack. It's like, oh boy, I got a lot to do, but I really want that new thing, so I'm just chipping away at it. I think it'll be great.
What's that?
So going back to Urban, we were getting out of the car, parked across the street at 23rd before the big show. And we're walking along, and a group of young ladies drive past us. And one of them rolls down her window and screams out, "I like your hair." And I'll tell you what, man, made me feel good. Made me feel good. Because, of course, the first thing that crosses my mind is like, am I being made fun of?
Yeah. Get defensive.
Yeah. But I wasn't. I wasn't. I was like, oh, man, in this Me Too era, didn't feel so bad.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot different than like nice toots.
But I would still call that a form of catcalling in a way. I mean, it wasn't like sexual in nature, but I guess it was a compliment.
It was I don't know if it was necessarily catcalling, but it was.
But if you were to do that to a lady, if you were driving down 23rd Street and a girl walked by and you rolled down the window like, "I like your hair," would that be considered offensive, or?
If she was talking about my gray pubes, then yes.
Oh.
But no, I felt good. I kind of had a little pep in my step. And then fast forward, we get to the Blue Note, and we're kind of kicking around waiting to do the podcast with Josh. And we're standing kind of like behind the bar, just chatting with JoJo. And I know there's two fellas sitting at the bar, packed in there. And I notice the guy reaches in his pocket to maybe grab a lighter or something. And a dollar falls out of his pocket. And it falls on the ground, and he doesn't realize it. And I lean over to him, and I point to the ground, and I reach down to pick up his dollar, and I hand it to him. And he's like, "No, buddy, you can keep it. That's for being honest." And I was just like, no, man, it's cool here. And I was like trying to give him this $1, you know? And no, he's like, no, but seriously, buddy, hang on to it, man. That's yours. And he like fist bumped me.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I was like, it did feel good to be honest.
So you got like, everything was coming up Millhouse for you last night. Just
It was good.
positive vibes for you.
Yeah. And then we sat down with Josh Caterer of Smoking Popes in their tour. What is that called? Because it was like an RV.
It was like a Winnebago. It was like a coach, right? Would you call that a coach?
Yeah. So we took our mobile recording setup and had a nice, great talk with Josh. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Now, I will say, we're ironing out the details on our mobile rig. So there is a little bit of noise here and there, a little bit of mic noise.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it sounds great. I think it's definitely worth listening to.
For sure.
We had some great conversations. I could tell, like, I was looking over at you, Josh, and I could tell, like, you were super stoked.
Oh, I was very excited.
Yeah, like you were smiling. You were on it, man. You did a great job. And
Thanks, man.
I had a good time with it too. And turns out I really like Josh. I thought he was super nice.
Oh, you guys bonded on some things, man. It was kind of cool to see. I was a little nervous about like how it was going to turn out. He's a quiet guy, but he really opened up. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. Well, I say we should get to it.
Can we get to the conversation?
Let's do it.
Time for a brand new thing, and the promise that our future brings. In an age of evil queens and kings, hope is burning in the song we sing. The song we sing. I don't want to simmer down. I don't want to simmer down.
We are here with Josh Caterer. Is that how you
Yes,
pronounce it?
that
Okay.
is how you say
I've been
it.
a fan of your band for a long time, and I never knew how to pronounce your last name because it's like it could be Caterer, it could be Caterer. You never know.
Yeah, there was a lot of confusion about that in school.
Yeah.
People would tend to think that it was French, and I would get a lot of Cartier.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so I was like, was it Cartier or Caterer or?
Yeah, you want to put an R before the T.
Yeah, for that one. Or there'd be some
'Cause-
sort of a what do they put that? Above the R or above the E? Some
Our
sort of
American brains keep going to Carter. It's got to be a Carter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, it's Caterer.
Okay.
And speaking of school, people sometimes ask, if we got made fun of because of the whole food thing.
Oh yeah.
Caterer, oh, what are you going to prepare some food for us? But the thing was, back in elementary school, nobody knew what a caterer was.
No.
By the time you're old enough to know what a caterer is, you're too old to be making fun of people's last names anymore.
Yeah, I didn't know
It's
what
a
a caterer was until
respectable
like
profession at this point in my life. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
a good gig.
no, in like my 20s, like that's a good side gig, like be a caterer. Like you bartend at nights, and then during the days you like you cater events or whatever.
It'd be better than like Josh Garbage Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Josh Substitute Teacher. No
Josh
offense. I mean,
Podiatrist.
yeah, that's one way. I was going to say pedophile, but that would be the ultimate bad. So you guys are here in Oklahoma City tonight.
We
playing
are.
at the Blue Note.
Yeah.
And you guys are no strangers to Oklahoma.
We've been here several times.
Several times, yeah. So
Yeah.
are you guys on tour right now, or is this a one-off show, or what's going on?
This is the tail end of a tour. It's tonight here, and then tomorrow in St. Louis. Then we're done.
Going back home.
And going back home.
Now, where you guys from?
Chicago.
Born and raised in Chicago?
I was born in Virginia, Fairfax, Virginia, but have lived in Chicagoland area since I was like 4.
Okay, so parents brought you there, and you were
Mhm.
pretty much raised there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've only been to Chicago once in my life, and it was actually not too long ago. I was there for work, and I loved it. We stayed in downtown Chicago, walked around at night. We were actually passing through. We got stuck there. We were on our way to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and spent the night in Chicago. Ate at some awesome restaurant I can't remember the name of. Woke up, left, but I did a little walking around that night and in the morning, and I was like, man, I want to come back. It's super cool. Now, being from there, are you
It's a good town.
are you super pro Chicago, or are you kind of like how we are here? It's like, yeah, it's cool. It's all right. Been to other places.
No, I like Chicago. I'm
Yeah?
very pro Chicago.
Very cool.
I could see living somewhere else, but it's like if you're from a place, aren't you connected to that place? It's
Yeah.
not a choice really you can make. You can be like, I hate Chicago, I'm gonna move away, but still some part of your soul just belongs there.
Yeah, you're like it's not like you're stuck there, but there's something that brings you back. You can move away, and it's something it brings you right back in.
Yeah.
I don't know if like growing up in Chicago, if you got like Oklahoma, it's like it's a thing. You know, everyone's like, "Fuck this town, I'm leaving." And they go move away for like I did it. I moved to California for a year, and then it's like it's too expensive, so you move back here.
Yeah.
You know,
We always come back.
always come back.
You always do. Yeah. So we're trying to, my wife and I are talking about whether or not we should move somewhere because our son he's a senior in high school. He's going to graduate, and then we feel like we'll have some freedom to
Empty nest kind of a thing.
Yeah. Maybe we should finally move somewhere more, where the climate agrees with us more, like we've been talking about. But once you're up against it, then you're like, well, yes, every January we say that we should move somewhere warmer.
Yeah, because it sucks in Chicago in the winter, right?
Right.
It's cold.
But when we're actually faced with the real possibility of doing that, I was like, do you want to really move away from everything that and all your friends and
your
life and kind of start over somewhere else?
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do when you're in your 20s or like you're 18, 19, but like when you're like 30, am I too close? When you're like,
You're good.
It's
late
too hot.
30s and your 40s, it's like where am I going to go? Am I going to start again somewhere else? Like,
Do I have the bandwidth for that? I don't think so.
yeah. And the whole band is located there, right? Like all of you guys are?
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell me about how the Popes got started. Here on our show, we like to talk about backstories of how we got to where we are when we interview people. And, a lot of people, they know you have a newish record out. They know that you're on tour. Hopefully some of them are here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know how the Popes got started.
All right.
What's the backstory of that?
Well, 3 of us are brothers. So it just sort of happened that we were making music together ever since we were little kids.
Now, did somebody get a guitar for Christmas one year, and then somebody inevitably got a bass and a drum kit,
brother
or how'd
Matt
that go?
started taking guitar lessons. I'm trying to remember how old he was. I was probably 10, and he's 3.5 years older than me. When he started doing that, and he said, "You should start playing the bass. Then we can have a band." So I took bass lessons for a couple of years. But then at some point we switched. Can't remember how that happened.
I find looking back with my siblings and cousins, you just trade things sometimes. You
Yeah.
trade clothes, you trade comic books, you
Oh,
trade
yeah.
baseball cards, you traded instruments.
Well, we would do that. We had a room in our basement where we had a drum kit set up and a bass guitar through an amp and a guitar through an amp. And the 3 of us would just be playing, and then we would get up and switch instruments, and we just rotate.
Yeah.
So we all can play everything. But then somewhere along the way, we discovered when we really, got serious about starting a band, which was, I think I was like a senior in high school. The question was, okay, who can play and sing at the same time? Because that person is going to be the singer.
Yeah.
Both my brothers can sing. Eli was pretty young at that point, so I think he was not really a contender to do that. He was like 13 or so when we started.
Yeah.
But so it was me or Matt. But I just had the coordination enough to be able to strum and sing without having to strum in the exact same rhythm that I was singing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's like the biggest hurdle to get over.
Yeah.
We grew up playing music together in garages and switched instruments and did all kinds of things. And I was always like, and then I did love you. It was always with the
always
downstroke.
with the downstroke.
Never failed. And that's never got over that. It's tough, but I think it's like once you learn to juggle, you never don't know how to juggle. So, and you've been juggling for a long time now, so yeah.
So when you guys started it, so when you're like, you said your brother was like 13, that's about like the It's like I think the general age for picking up a guitar and like starting to write songs. Was he writing the songs first, and then when you guys started switching it, you started writing the songs, or was it like?
Here's how it worked when we first started with the songwriting. Well, this is I love this story, but I'm trying to figure out where to begin. This was when I was a senior in high school, so my older brother had graduated already, and my younger brother was a couple grades down from me. And we didn't have a band, but I found out about this show that was happening. This kid that we knew had a band, and he was having a show in somebody's basement because it was Jeremy, the kid's name was Jeremy, who was having this show because his parents were going to be out on Friday night. They were like going to a dinner or something, and they were going to be gone for like 4 or 5 hours. And so he was having a show at his house while his parents were gone.
Unbeknownst to his parents?
Unbeknownst.
Classic.
That's ballsy.
Classic.
That short period of time,
Yeah.
short window.
So I found out about this on a Monday. I went to school, and it was like, hey, Jeremy's having a show Friday night. And I didn't have a band, but I knew Jeremy. So I went home, and I talked to my brothers, and I was like, Jeremy's having a show Friday night. Let's put a band together and play that show.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, okay. And so we thought up, at that point, we decided to call ourselves Speed Stick.
This
Like
is
a
also
teenage band.
90s
Yeah,
sounding.
right.
Yeah.
Very 90s. And we thought up a bunch of song titles. Collectively, we just brainstormed like 8 or 10 song titles. And, over the next couple of days, I wrote songs to go with the titles.
Based on the title. That's usually like the thing you try to come up like, do you write the music first or the lyrics, and then naming the song? Like, do you make it something obvious, or do you make it some weird abstract thing? Like, I was in a punk rock band, and we named our songs like things that had absolutely nothing to do with the song, and it was like a sentence long, which is kind of annoying. Like a lot of bands do that, but whatever.
So what were some of the Speed Stick hits that you played that weekend?
Well, we had I'm trying to think of one of the songs from Speed Stick that actually made it into the Smoking Popes catalog is called Brand New Hairstyle. I can't remember if that was in the very first batch of songs. There was a song called I've Got a Hickey on My Thigh, and Angela Lansbury Put It There. There was another song called Cheese, and the verses were just lists of the various kind of cheese products that were available.
As long as the music rips, it doesn't matter,
Right.
Like,
And how was the chorus to that one? Was it just cheese, or I'm trying to picture what this would transfer into the chorus.
No,
like.
I don't think.
it's like
I
good
don't
a
think I ever
monster.
said. I never said the word
Oh.
cheese in there. It was just like mozzarella, Swiss, cheddar, and they're just
Oh.
like down.
It sounds super ahead of
down
its
the list.
time.
There was a song called Preparation H-Bomb.
Punk.
Little wordplay there. I like that. Yeah.
a little double entendre there. Political. It's very personal and political at the same time.
I had a friend who was in a band, and he's this badass bass player, just like ridiculous, technical, tapping, crazy, and he was in this like weird punk noise band. And speaking of double entendres, his band was called Forced Entree, and I loved it. It was like one of my favorite band names ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was something about being younger, and I don't know. I feel like as I get older, I overthink things. It's like, okay, what are we gonna name this podcast? It has to be perfect. We're getting time is ticking here. This might be our last shot at doing something halfway cool. And we thought of all these names, and we decided on Boys, just because we're friends. We are boys.
Men.
Boys.
And it wasn't taken. I was like, holy shit! I searched iTunes. I searched, Google. It wasn't just Boys Podcast wasn't taken. It was always the something Boys.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, fuck it. Buy the .com, get it. That's awesome. And then when people ask us, I just feel like a dork describing it. They're like, why so simple? And I'm like, well, I didn't want to overthink it. It
Right.
fits. It works.
Uh-huh.
And, going with the backstories, I love to sit down with people like you and hear how you got to where you are, Because everybody knows your music's available on Spotify. They all know that they can go to your website, they can buy the merch, they can come to the show. But to hear the backstory on how the Popes came to be, I mean, you guys have had a long history. You've been around a long time.
We have been around a long time. We did that band for, I want to say,
The Jeremy's Party Band.
Jeremy's Party Band. We, we did that. Speed Stick, and we had a lot of fun. We were like, let's keep going. So we played a handful of shows as Speed Stick. And then after about a year, I think, all the songs were jokes basically, and so the joke just sort of, that joke isn't funny anymore, kind of thing. So we were like, well, okay, we really want to do this band thing. Let's think of a new name. Let's write a new batch of songs. Let's get serious about this. So the first Smoking Popes EP had 5 songs on it that were like, we had gone in and recorded, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 songs as Speed Stick, and then decided that we wanted to be a serious band. So we picked the 5 songs out of there that were like the least ridiculous and released them as the first Smoking Popes EP. So Brand New Hairstyle. And Brand New Hairstyle is the only one out of that batch that we actually still play on a regular basis. Oh, there was a song called Satan Works at Sears.
I like it.
Angsty.
Yeah.
I'm totally picking
It's
up
the alliteration,
all these,
too. It kind of flows off the tongue.
I'm picking up the feel of this band. I wasn't even there. I wasn't even at the party. So as far as the party goes, were there a lot of kids there? How was this party? Were there people like swinging on the chandeliers and breaking vases, or was it pretty chill?
The basement, there weren't chandeliers and vases in the basement. It was just concrete. I do remember.
I'm assuming a washing machine, washer and dryer or something down there.
Right. Some gardening implements. No, they got a pit going. There was like one of those beams, support beams, and then people would run up to it and kind of swing around the beam, and
Just getting wild.
somewhere there's video of this show. I saw it on the internet not long ago.
I'll have to YouTube search
Yeah,
that
out
one.
I'm totally
Sure.
gonna search
It's
that
out
when I get
there.
home.
Yeah.
So
but
where'd the
great.
name Smoking Popes come from? What from Speed Stick to Smoking Popes?
Or were there names in between?
No, we went right from Speed Stick to Smoking Popes, but there's a process of picking a band name is a laborious task.
You make the list,
You
and then
make
you
lists.
cross them out,
Yep.
and it's got to do like majority rule. If everybody likes them, show of hands.
Well,
Well,
this was pre like looking them up on Instagram, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Instagram.
Yeah, no.
Or like
No.
band name generators.
Yeah.
Or
No, it had to come from within.
the old noggin.
So Matt had suggested the Popes because he heard there was a street gang in Chicago called the Popes, and we liked the idea of having some religious imagery in the name, because we really loved this band called the Screaming Blue Messiahs. Remember them?
No,
Oh, such a great band. Should really look them up.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah. So it's like the Popes, but we should flesh that out a little bit. The something Popes. And so then for 2 weeks after that, every word that we could possibly think up, we would put it in front of the word Popes and see how it flowed.
Mm-hmm.
And we landed on smoking because, in part because one of our favorite movies was The Pope of Greenwich Village with Mickey Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
And Mickey Rourke he just looked so cool when he smoked.
Yeah.
He was like our smoking hero. So
I'm trying to think of my smoking hero growing up, because when you're young, smoking looks so cool.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
say
No,
they
I'm
say it
talking
does.
young,
Like, no,
young.
that's why you start smoking, because it looks cool.
it looks really cool. Yeah, we went. There was Mickey Rourke. Also, we went to see Echo and the Bunnymen perform,
Mhm.
and Ian McCulloch came out smoking a cigarette, and I was like, oh, look how great he looks up there on stage with that cigarette.
Yeah.
I need to do that.
Right.
Brooding artist.
Mine was kind of like Echo, but it was Joe Camel. The billboards of the camels playing pool,
Yeah.
and they had that cigarette hanging out of the mouth.
Mhm.
And my mom had a Joe Camel koozie, but it was shaped like a camel head. It was massive.
Yeah.
It was plastic, or like it was made out of like what toy? I don't know, like a plastic toy was made.
But
out
it
of
had a
Just
cigarette hanging out of its mouth, right?
Cigarette. He had a jean jacket on, and on the collar of the jean jacket, emblazoned, it said "Stay cool."
Wow.
And I used that koozie all the time as a kid. You know, I had my Shasta or my Dr. Pepper in there or whatever. And I just thought, someday, buddy, I'm going to
Maybe
be like you.
Maybe put a Fresca in there if things got crazy.
Or perhaps a Seagram's ginger ale.
Ooh.
Wait, is it Seagram's? Do they make
Yeah.
the ginger? Okay.
Yeah.
They do.
Doesn't sound like an asshole.
Classic, classic ginger.
But yeah,
ale.
I had that, and I remember she'd get the Camel catalogs, and you know, you trade in your Camel bucks for Zippos, and
Yeah,
and they
Camel
had
bucks.
there was a Camel jean jacket in there. And
Did it say "Stay cool" on the collar?
It did, and then on the back it had Joe Camel like leaning up against like a Ferrari or a Camaro, you know, all up embroidered.
Something badass.
Oh, dude, I had dreams
sunglasses.
about that jacket. I had dreams
So-
about wearing that jacket to school.
So this advertising that's targeted toward young people with the cartoons, I mean, it worked in your case.
100%.
100%.
And when I started smoking when I was, 15, like when we found this little store down the street from the high school that would sell us cigarettes,
Yeah.
what did I buy?
Camel.
Wides.
Marketing.
Because that was the whole thing. It was like wide, bold, cool, smoking Camels, man. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Are you still? You used to be a smoker, right?
Used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I quit a long time ago.
Long time ago. I was
Me
gonna say,
too.
Is it the back of Destination Failure where the picture where you're smoking or someone's smoking on the back of it? Made me want to smoke.
Oh.
I'm
Aw,
joking.
that's
No,
so
I'm
sweet.
kidding. I'm joking.
I don't
I
wanna
was
be
never a big
responsible for that.
I was never a big smoker. Didn't
No,
really
our
smoke much.
our first full-length album, Smoking Popes Get Fired, we're all smoking cigarettes on the cover. But quit smoking. Although I sort of sound like a smoker right now because I'm a little bit under the weather.
Same. Me
That
too.
time of
Just
year.
yeah, it's that time of
Mhm.
the year, and I think changing climates. I mean, we drove down from Chicago to Florida, then through Texas, and now back up. And it's just like
Like
allergies
cold,
and
warm.
cold,
to-
warm.
yeah.
So, not 100%. I'm kind of croaking through some of the songs, but
But you only got 2 more shows left.
you know, you turn your amp up louder, and nobody seems to notice.
Well, you do that thing where like you let the crowd sing a little bit for
Yeah.
you, you know?
Oh, like Paul Stanley does all the time now?
Yeah.
Like every high note. It's like, come on, let's hear you, Oklahoma City.
I can't hit it.
Speaking of, Kiss will be through Oklahoma City in February, and I'm thinking about taking the plunge and going. I'm not
Yeah.
a huge Kiss fan. I do enjoy them as an entity. What are your thoughts on Kiss, Josh?
They were one of my first favorite bands as
Yeah.
a kid because I was born in '72, so in the late '70s, Kiss was like had a profound impact.
Yeah.
And Kiss Double Platinum on cassette was, I think, the first music that I ever actually owned.
So your first music, not a tape that from your parents or a cousin, sibling, something like that.
No,
this was
it was
yours?
I remember we went to Kmart, and I saw this cassette, and I excuse me, asked my mom to buy it for me. So it was like, and she did. So I didn't pay for it myself, but it was mine because she bought it for me.
Yeah.
So like I owned, this was the first music I ever owned. And that wasn't the first music that I ever actually paid my own money for. First music I ever paid my own money for was Thin Lizzy Jailbreak.
Nice.
No,
I
that's
bought-
respectable.
That I bought from the neighbor at the garage sale. But Kiss Double Platinum was the first music I ever owned on cassette. And so that runs pretty deep. I mean, it's during a very formative age I was listening to Kiss, and I think later as an adult listening back to that music, I feel like lyrically Kiss does not hold up. The songs are
What,
absurd.
cold gin doesn't hold up?
I wouldn't call them wordsmiths.
The songs are absurdly stupid from a lyrical point of view, but still some pretty good rock and roll songwriting. And Ace Frehley is one of the great rock guitar players, and some of his guitar solos I would put up there on the list of like just best rock guitar solos ever.
So you're opening the Guitar World, and he's right there at the top of the list.
Oh yeah,
every year.
like if I had if I had to pick like top 5 just most inspiring, most well-crafted guitar solos, I would put his solo from the song "Making Love." You know the one I'm talking about?
I do.
Which, that's a perfect example. The lyrics of that song are so dumb. They're like 6th grade level stupid.
Yeah, they're not good.
But that's one of the best rock guitar solos ever in the history of rock, I think, is that his Ace Frehley's solo from that song is so great.
I got into Kiss way later in life. I didn't grow up with them. My parents were into country in the 90s when I was growing up, late 80s, early 90s. So I didn't really get a taste of that stuff until it was classic rock.
Yeah.
But I grew to appreciate it even then, warts and all. And I read Peter Criss's book, and then I read Ace Frehley's book. And then I went down that YouTube rabbit hole of just like watching old interviews and watching old footage. And, I did that every day for like weeks. And when I was going through this huge like Kiss, I don't know what you'd call it, this learning about them. And I think Ace Frehley is also one of the coolest personalities because he was just kind of like a drunk and like just kind of like, well, I don't care, whatever. And Gene was all super serious, and Paul was super like flamboyant and like whatever. Peter didn't talk much, but I like Ace the best. Like I like his stage presence. I like his personality.
Ace is cool.
It's great.
Is he in the band now?
No, it's only Gene and Paul now. So they've got a stand-in Ace. Still wears the same makeup.
Isn't like a super young dude?
His name's Tommy Thayer, I believe, and he's younger than they are. Okay. He's not a spring chicken, but he's younger. And then they have a new Kitty Cat Man. And
Kitty Cat Man.
But I still want to see them. Like this is supposedly this is their farewell tour. No, I think they've been doing
that
those
like 5 times.
They've done it since the 80s, I think. But for them to come through Oklahoma City, I think just get some cheap seats. Just go.
Yeah,
just
go.
And people watch.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing, Robbie. You make your fair share of dollars.
I do okay.
I think what you should do is just
Daddy
say,
Warbucks over here.
Fuck it. Get floor seats.
They're like $300.
That's a lot of money. Never mind. Don't do that.
That's a lot of money for half of Kiss.
I would say if it was $100 for a floor ticket,
yeah.
I'd buy a $100 floor ticket to Kiss.
Eat ramen for a week and save my lunch money,
Wow. $300.
That's a lot of money. A lot of coin.
Yeah. $300 for a non-Ace Frehley version of Kiss.
Right.
Now, what'd you do if Ace was there? And it was their farewell tour, Josh.
It really was their farewell tour, and Ace Frehley was really in the band. I would consider shelling out more than $100 for the ticket.
But not quite 300.
Maybe not
Somewhere
300.
between the middle.
300 I might pay for a Led Zeppelin reunion. Like maybe
bring
not
Bonham
Kiss.
back from the grave and then...
Well, what, they throw Jason Bonham, that's the closest you're going to
That's-
get.
Yeah. You go see Greta Van Fleet for like $30 at Wakarusa or wherever they're playing this weekend. We talked about them last week on the podcast and people's hate for them, and it was.
I don't get why people hate them. They're just
whatever.
kids being kids playing
Just,
music.
They're just trying to do their thing, which is somebody else's thing. So they're just trying to do somebody else's thing.
Yeah, they're good at it though.
Leave them alone.
Yeah, let them wear the feathers in their hair.
If
and all
they
that shit,
if they
whatever.
called themselves Greta Van Fleet and then in small parentheses on the bottom a Led Zeppelin tribute,
right,
would it be? Would
No,
that make it okay?
It'd be fine. It's fine now. So I want to ask you, who did you look up to besides Ace Frehley when you started playing guitar? Like who were some of your early influences?
Oh, Angus Young, top of the list, right there.
A monster.
Yeah.
Talk about stage presence, man.
Yeah, like as a persona, definitely interesting. I mean, interesting and unique, and it's like, okay, so he's almost cartoonish in the way that he presents himself with the schoolboy outfit.
Mhm.
So it seems like theatrical, and
Right.
yet somehow the way that he does it, it seems punk. There's a gritty
Yeah.
sort of like authenticity to him. Like he's not trying to be theatrical. He's like somehow putting on a schoolboy uniform is like it's a costume, but it's the opposite of a costume.
Yeah. And also the way he plays, it's like the chord structure, everything is just it's super simplistic songwriting, but his leads are, crazy cool. But he makes it look effortless the
Mhm.
way he does
Well,
it.
he's like duck walking around and doing all this shit. It's like you said. I think effortless is a good way to
Yeah.
describe it. He's not up there like looking like he's really focusing. He's rocking.
Mhm.
And there's
Yeah.
there's this iconic photo of them that was like one of the first photos I ever saw, and they're all standing there. And I think it's like a sepia tone photo or black and white. And he's doing this sneer, and I think he's got devil horns on.
Yeah.
I think you might know the picture I'm
I
talking
know the
about.
picture.
I
Yeah.
had that shirt.
Yeah,
When
when I
it's
saw
kind of a scary face that he's making.
yeah, kind of like this devilish sneer. Yeah, and he's got the devil horns and he has the hat on. And I just thought, what a badass. Like,
Yeah.
and he pulls it off, and I've never heard somebody go, that's a really lame getup he's wearing. Like,
Right.
he's wearing those little shorts and
Yeah.
the shoes.
Nobody
like
goes-
the Oxfords or whatever.
I like his playing, but
Mm.
yeah, the schoolboy uniform, it's a bit much.
Yeah,
And that he's
yeah.
the only one in the band that does something like that. It's not like
Right.
a ska band where everyone wears a suit or
No.
Guar where everyone dresses up like
yeah,
monsters.
everybody else is just jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, he's like
He's
got
kind of like
this
cap on
velour.
with the-
yeah, he's like the Wes Borland of classic rock.
pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
But and his playing style is so it's just so real. It's like he plugs his guitar directly into a Marshall stack.
Mhm.
No pedals. It's such an organic sound, and there's no bells and whistles. It's like he's just good.
Yeah.
And so I feel like during that era, late 70s, early 80s, there was this was, there was a certain brand of like hair bands, like Van Halen was also becoming very popular at the time. But I sort of made this choice that I was not a Van Halen person. I was an AC/DC person. Because everything about AC/DC resonated with me musically and stylistically 1,000% more than anything about Van Halen. I eventually have come to appreciate the work of Van Halen
Sure.
in my adult years. But as a kid, it was like, when you're in that stage where the music that you listen to, in addition to being good music, it's like, if I'm going to decide to like this, it has to do with my identity.
Mm-hmm.
So this music is sort of an extension of myself, or who I want to be.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And it was like, do I want to be David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen?
No.
Slick, polished, poofy hair.
Mm-hmm.
No, you want to put on a schoolboy
No.
uniform.
I want the dude with the schoolboy uniform
And the sweet SG.
and the SG who doesn't use any pedals and just plays blues licks.
Yeah.
And everything about him is just like flipping the bird to everything that Van Halen is about.
Totally.
Right.
I did kind of the same thing I did with Kiss with AC/DC a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And we live in such a wonderful time that I said rabbit holing earlier, but you can totally do that. Like, you learn about a new author or a new band or an old band or whatever, and you get this well of information out there about them. And I did the same thing with AC/DC. I read a bunch of old articles. I looked up some tabs. I watched some old videos on YouTube, interviews, things like that. And yeah, they're definitely the opposite of Van Halen, 100%.
They really are. And their music stands up a lot more than Kiss does. I mean, you could argue that the lyrics are not necessarily sophisticated in a certain way, but particularly Bon Scott's lyrics, he just made them work. that guy was so. He was so rock and roll, but there was something about his sense of humor. He was almost like he was as unlikely a frontman as Angus Young was, his persona, because Bon Scott, his voice, it's like weirdly nasally and goofy sounding.
But also has a little bit of what I like to call toothpaste voice. Like when you're brushing your teeth and you talk, and it has like a little bit of that in there
like
too, but it's
like
real
there's-
high.
Like there's something in his mouth.
Yeah, like gurgling around while he's singing.
Yeah.
But that delivery.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unmatched.
You could say that his lyrics are, some of them, are as moronic as some of the Kiss lyrics, but he makes them work.
Well, it's also the music behind it. Like, what makes Kiss's lyrics sound cheesy is kind of some of the cheesiness of the music.
Yeah.
Whereas AC/DC, like you said, has kind of a punk rock quality to it. So you can have more moronic lyrics, but if the music's like, ballsy, it kind of,
There's that.
there's plenty of
that.
punk rock bands that, lyrics are dumb as hell, but then it's fast or loud. So it's like, it doesn't matter. They sing about farting in a bucket or whatever.
That's my favorite track.
Fart in a bucket. Was that
No
a
Effects.
Speed Stick song? Fart in a bucket?
No, we never had any fart songs.
Maybe it'll be on the next Smoking Popes record.
Probably not.
Probably not.
We'll wait and see.
So who else, man? Who else inspired you? So we got Ace Frehley, we got Angus Young. Give me a third. Who was another one you were really into? And it could be a little later on.
You're talking guitar wise? Are we talking?
Yeah, guitar,
guitars?
band. Just influences.
Oh,
I would like to know songwriting wise, because your songs, I love the way you write songs.
Thank you.
It's because it is like you guys are. I saw it written today
Howdy.
describing you guys as a punk laced pop rock with crooning vocals.
Punk
laced
pop
pop rock with crooning vocals.
Not pop punk.
No.
Punk laced pop rock.
Yes. Yeah, because like
I like that.
because you guys, I would put you in the category of a version of punk rock. You're not, a
Right.
3-chord punk band. You can mosh to some of your stuff if you want to, but at the same time, you can also kind of cry a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've cried to some Smoking Pope songs. But yeah, who are some of the influences, like,
I would say
how you started writing like
for
that?
songwriting, biggest influence would come from what you probably would describe as standards, like the stuff that Frank Sinatra was singing back in the 50s and 60s. But
Right.
a lot of those songs were coming from the soundtracks of musicals. That's how, like, songs were introduced through a Fred Astaire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I saw some article about that where a ridiculous number of popular songs that became standards were first introduced to the world by Fred Astaire, although he's not thought of as a singer primarily.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was, I guess, arguably not a great singer. He was a competent singer, but he was more known for his dancing, obviously, since he's Fred Astaire.
Right.
But
The vacuum commercial, right? Was that him?
Vacuum commercial.
Remember that vacuum commercial back in the 90s where the famous movie where
he's
he's
like-
walking on the wall
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's like a vacuum commercial.
yeah.
And then
But he would do movies where all the soundtracks were written by George and Ira Gershwin, and people like Irving Berlin and Jerome Kern and all these the greatest songwriters of all time. So, there's songs now that all these decades later, you hear people singing them and you might think, oh, that's somebody covering a Frank Sinatra song, but it was really Frank Sinatra covering a song like,
Right.
oh no, they can't take that away from me, the way you wear your hat. That was from a Fred Astaire movie.
Mm-hmm.
or pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It was from Swing Time with Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, thinking of that now. Because how they said, crooning vocals, your vocals are definitely that. I can definitely hear that influence in like the way you build melodies and things like that.
It has to do with the way that the melody is built. It's a song where you've come up with the melody first, and everything is built around it. I think a lot of modern musicians don't do it that way. They'll come up with chord structure or something first, write the music first, and then sort of insert melody here to go along with pre-written
Which kind of
music.
limits you on what you can do.
Yeah.
Melody vocals, like you've built this song structure, and you can't really. You're trying to like shove a
Square
thing.
peg into a round hole.
That's what it is.
I saw it working up there.
So okay, so like when you guys covered Pure Imagination, was that kind of that influence? Like
Yeah, it's because we had watched that movie a million times, and it was a beautiful song. And I think there were certain movies that we had on VHS tape that we just watched over and over and over again, and we loved the movies, but the soundtracks to them kind of permeated and shaped our concept of what songs are supposed to be. And Willy Wonka's one of those, and then the other big one was The Music Man. I would say probably the soundtrack to that movie has had a bigger influence on my songwriting and our musical catalog than anything else.
I've never seen it, but you know what? I'm gonna go home.
Oh yeah,
you got homework.
I'm gonna get on iTunes. I'm gonna buy that Joker. I'll rent that Joker.
Yeah.
It's funny. Same
Give it
thing.
a
Like
watch.
I grew up. It seemed like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was always on, either on like movies on Sunday afternoon on the TV, or we would have it on VHS and watch it. And I never ever thought it to be a musical.
No, not as a kid. I didn't either.
So you think like, oh, there's an entire musical number from like Pure Imagination on into the tunnel, the song in the tunnel, like, which scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Looking back, I watched that movie, within the last 5 years or so, and watching it as a grown man with issues and deep seated oppressed feelings over time. It's like, this is fucking dark.
Yeah.
This is way darker.
Yeah. What's that song that he does in the tunnel?
There's no way of knowing
which direction we are going.
Is
There's
it
no
right?
knowing where we're rolling.
That's it.
Yeah.
Or which way the river's flowing.
And it
Is it
starts-
raining? Is it snowing? Is a hurricane a blowing?
Can we just sing the
Are
whole
the
movie?
fires of hell a glowing?
Dude, that's dark. That is dark for a
Yes.
children's
then
movie.
the tent turns red and it's like, oh.
And there's like
Yeah.
evil shit being like blasted onto the
Rowers
walls. Like,
keep on rowing,
Yeah.
and they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing.
what a brilliant man,
Yeah.
dude. So good.
R.I.P. Gene Wilder.
I know.
All right, can I show you something?
Yeah.
This won't show up on the podcast.
Okay. Oh,
Sick.
shit.
Sick.
That is awesome.
We're looking at Josh's Gene Wilder. A lot of real estate on that leg there.
Yeah.
Tattoo.
Life-size tattoo.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Blazing Saddles tattoo. It has nothing to do
Yeah.
with that. That's a really
It's
really
from
sick
Stir
piece.
Crazy, actually.
Stir Crazy. Silver Bullet.
Well, I think we should probably wrap up
Yeah,
soon and let you get along
on
with
that
your
old
night.
the old stage.
Yeah, what time we got here?
Well,
10:30?
I don't want to go too long.
I don't want to keep you.
Yeah, should probably get in there.
All right. So you guys
Although
haven't.
I don't want to hang out in the club because
It's smoky as hell in there.
smoky as hell in there. I
Mhm.
didn't know they allowed smoking in any clubs in America anymore.
It's Oklahoma's holding on, man, for dear
They
life.
really are. They're holding on to that pack of Durals and just crushing it in their
Wish
yellow
I could
fingers.
Respect that kind of stubborn-headedness, but in this case, I would say
Well, can I be brutally honest with you? Like I mentioned previously, I'm a little under the weather myself, but I
Yeah.
wasn't going to miss tonight.
Mhm.
I was hanging out in my car before we came here because I went in the club and I was just like, man, like I don't smoke anymore.
Mhm.
I don't really go to smoky places very often. And having this little funk, whatever I got up here, I was like, I just don't. Nothing against Blue Note. It's a wonderful establishment. But
Yeah.
I was like, I can't be in this smoky bar because I don't want to
Dude,
Yeah.
And I
the worst-
showered today, and this hair takes a while, and it attracts.
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
of
nothing like-
smoke, so.
like playing a show in the city, like you have a few venues you can play that aren't smoking, like the Speakeasy's one, 89th Street's one. You guys played 89th Street a couple of times.
Okay.
And then Blue Note's the other one, but it's, you know, you load in and then your gear smells like smoke and you can't get the shit out.
Not good.
It's the
No.
worst.
And it's not good for the old
It's
pipes.
gonna stink
so.
up the RV.
Yeah, mix that piss smell. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for your time, man. Let's
Thank you,
so
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, do you guys have any record out?
Yeah, it's called Into the Agony.
It's a great record. It
Thank you.
it's such a took me back to, like, you know, the Born to Quit, Destination Failure stuff. Probably because it's, you know, the first thing you guys have done collectively is the original lineup since
Yeah.
then. So
Yeah,
dig it.
we had a lot of fun making it, and it feels that way to us. It feels like somehow it's the first real Smoking Popes record we've made in like 20 years.
When it came out, put it on. I was like, all right. Because here's the thing: like when bands don't put something out for a while, you get that, like, is it gonna be? What's
You
it
get
gonna
that
be like?
anxiety, yeah.
Yeah.
I get a little anxiety because last podcast we talked about a band that we both loved, and like they put in a record. I'm like, you kind of missed the mark. You know what I mean? Like you took too much time between it. I put that on. I was like, but it's like you never left. Like you didn't skip a beat. It's like, here's the next thing. It's kind of in the same vein of what you were doing before.
Right.
So,
Okay, well, I'm glad you like it. Thanks for saying so.
was that shitty to say that? It sounds exactly like your
No,
other shit.
I think
That's not what I
it's a
meant.
great compliment.
No, I think within the context of what you were saying,
Mhm.
it did come across as a compliment.
Good. I can come across as a real asshole.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
yes he can. Well, Josh, thank you so much for your
man.
time.
Thank you,
man.
guys. It's been good talking to you.